Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the final episode of Tricogha Nights here on the Component Cast. Before we get started tonight, we will of course do our normal intro and as well a special bonus talk and chat. Basically, Utari's running a little bit late, and we want to give him that time. We want him to be here for the final, so we won't roll the trailer right after getting these credits out of the way. We're gonna sit and talk about some stuff. And we also have a special sneak peek of what's coming next right at the end of this broadcast tonight. Mainly because I now need to get something on screen ready for that broadcast a bit later. But anyway, to start us off, for the final time, Roach, what are we going to be playing tonight?
Well, we're playing Urban Jungle, which is made by Sanguine Productions, and as I've said previously, they are known for making a lot of other games, including the Iron Claws series, and Jade Claw I think is also included under that, and the Cardinal game system, as well as a few others, by the way. They're actually fairly prolific compared to some indie studios, and they continue to have a 75% off discount for the physical version of the game, so you can get it for pretty cheap for a print to order copy. So I would highly recommend that. It's a very good game.
Okay, and Mikey, who was our artist for this show? It feels weird saying was.
Yeah, I know. Our artist was, and forever will be, Seven. They are fantastic. They do various other things. They do human art. They also do surprisingly enough, they also do concept art on various different accounts, but the account that I'm sharing in the Twitter account is for their anthropomorphic art, which is currently taking commissions. So check them out on Twitter, twitter.com/9Ki99, NINEKI99 on Twitter. Let them know that we sent you, and thank them for the fantastic art.
Yeah, big shout out to them for all the awesome artwork they've done for us, and the extra piece that you commissioned recently for this campaign. It's been real wonderful seeing their work. And if you want to find out more information, head on over to their socials, or you can check out their bio on our Instagram, because you should come and follow our Instagram if you haven't already. We're doing a lot of unique content on there. We've got all sorts of things like DM tips, game reviews, art drops, character backstories, all sorts of really decent things. And it's just an extra little bit of Component Cast content that you can pick up on the regular. We're posting 3 times a week and outside of our normal show schedules, so go check that out as well. But yeah, how are we all? That's all the notes we have for this evening. Other than thank you to Sirenscape for being able to bring our sounds to this table. You can find them at sirenscape.com/Sirenscape. It's linked in the panels in the description. This is a bit of an odd form one because this is our final wrap-up session. It's not going to be a full-length session tonight either, but we're yeah, I think that covers it. How are we all? We doing okay?
Yeah,
not that bad.
Doing all right.
Tired after a long day of work in the gym.
Ooh.
But other than that, I'm good. I'm feeling good. Feeling feisty.
I'm feeling a little bit kind of drained.
Oh.
Because we had a bank holiday last weekend for us. It was like we had Friday and the Monday off. It was absolutely wonderful. And it had been fine if it wasn't for the fact on the Sunday night, my body and brain decided, yeah, you're not going to go sleep.
Oh,
no sleep.
No.
So I had all Sunday night awake to the point where I was at 4 o'clock in the morning. I decided I'm going to log into work and actually do something useful. And my boss isn't back till next week. I hate him, by the way. And so he's going to just have on his thing, this person logged in at 4 o'clock in the morning and logged out at 6:30 in the morning. Which is outside normal working hours. And so it's like, why?
Why were you here?
You just get a single text message. It's just a single word text message. Just why? My work's busy thanks to that bank holiday weekend because we didn't get anything delivered for the last 3 days, and today I just got a mountain of jobs. So I'm going to be one busy little boy for the next few days. Lots of fun.
Roach, are you busy?
You evil woman. Well done. Good question.
Unfortunately, I can't say anything.
He can neither confirm nor deny if he is busy at the moment.
Yeah, I can't.
Due
I
to
can't
legal
say
reasons.
what I'm doing.
Yeah, due to legal purposes, I can no longer say anything involving this
In fact,
conversation.
technically, I'm not supposed to make a statement about anything. So,
Yeah.
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 no, off, things unrelated to work. I keep myself fairly busy. I've started to live stream on my own personal
I've been
channels.
enjoying those. I keep
I
the
have.
tab open because you usually clash with Rival, which is slightly annoying. But I keep a tab open for you.
I would watch, but you're always streaming when I'm already streaming.
This is
all
one of the
recorded.
problems that happens a lot with us as friends.
It was, I tell you what, it was so cute on Saturday because I had obviously everything open for Rival, and then I had a tab for Roach and a tab for Midge, and I was like, just need the other two. And I think we've got the full house.
Yeah.
I just got a message
Anto
from
was
Red.
in all of them.
Yeah. Anto, you're a G. We love you, man.
Anto, you're a legend. You know that, right?
Was
Yeah.
in all of them, but no, it's been going for.
Anto is literally just hacker mans with our
Yeah.
streams. Just has 7 different screens up for all of our streams.
He gets a day off on Tuesdays and because
Yeah.
he's only got one location to watch.
There's not a lot of extra. There's not a lot of good times too. Like 1:30, 2:30ish for me on Saturdays is like kind of my best time to do it because it was either that because basically that's the time I had blocked out to play with Mech Warrior with Rival. But I didn't really have like I can't do Sunday because every third Sunday of the month I go to my my game groups like game night, so that'd be like a stream I couldn't do, and you know I want to have a life during the week, so it's gonna
What is this? What is a
Life?
life? Yeah.
I know I lost it for a long time, but then I stopped making videos on YouTube and I found it again.
I mean that's why I myself have like moved to mornings because it was like, well, you can't do that.
insomniac.
You of course can't do that because that is nighttime for you.
That is- I
Yeah,
start work before the sun rises most of the year.
yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
My only real
I
problem
wanna
is
get
that
back
like
to doing videos. I really want to get back to doing videos.
yeah, it's hard to kind of get back into that.
It really is.
because it's a whole different narrative style, and it's a whole different like mindset behind it because you don't have anybody to interact with when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I could do it anymore. I love streaming though because I can just kind of like shoot the shit with the chat if I need to. If I don't know what I'm gonna do next and I just need to kind of like get some extra time, I'll just say, hey, everybody doing? That's that's a good like 10-15 minutes talking with people.
Just as a in gameplay note, Roach, I need my character re-given to me
Right.
because I was on a different system.
No
last
character
time.
for you. No character for you.
Bad
Mitch.
boy.
No
Hey,
character.
you're not normally art locks.
Yeah. Well, I used to be always Artlocks, and then I got Midgeman
True.
as an account. But
It's-
when
shouldn't be
Artlocks
that.
became my because I have to
Yeah,
run 2
should-
accounts to make things.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my I've been
You see, I'd love to stream, but I'm lazy. I don't know what I'd stream. I'm like, do I just stream Football Manager? Do I just stream like something else?
there's
or...
a market for that.
There is. It's a big market, actually.
There's a
Surprisingly,
big market for that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
might be too big to actually make a breakthrough on though. At this point,
I don't know. It's one of those weird ones, like because Zealand, one of the biggest YouTube and Twitch guys for that, will often just raid really small streamers. He'll just go into the content and just scroll down and be like, "You look cool," and just raid them.
It'd be
sure I'm
one of the
gonna go
things that
to-
I could do on my channel because people would be like, "Wait a minute, you actually want our opinion?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I know nothing about football.
yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that a good player for that position or not?
I really wanted to do some Football Manager streams with my dad because there's a mod.
that would
Your
be
dad's
good.
he's a chairman, isn't he? For
My
a
dad
football
is a
club,
chairman for a football club, and there's
Yeah.
a mod that actually allows you to play as my dad's team, which means my dad is in game, and also becomes your tutorial character because the chairman of the club is the person that gives you the tutorial. So
Yeah.
it would be a really weird meta thing. Plus, we'd have all the kit and the support kit, like the stuff, and we could like.
That would be honestly. That would
I mean,
be
I could
amazing.
technically do it now because I have because my laptop and stuff. I could actually do it live from the stadium, with like
That'd be
from the
cool.
actual club stadium. It's not
That would
really
be
a
pretty
stadium.
cool.
It's a couple of stands
God,
in a
that's-
field. But
That is actually a form of
so you
content
take
football
the-
manager. They call it Park to Prem. You go from a park football team to a Premier League team over like 30 years, basically.
That's true. The less you know about football, probably the better the stream.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's honestly for most streaming content, that's kind of true. Like if you, I don't like watching people who are super experts about things they're doing unless they have a real big force of personality behind them. Like I can,
Unless I'm trying to learn something.
not even then videos. I prefer video content.
Yeah, 'cause you can
it's more
rewatch it,
edited,
yeah.
and it's you can kind of
Yeah, it's
with
cleaned
that.
up and things like that. Whereas if you're doing a stream and you don't know what you're doing, then people who do know what you're doing feel like they want to get involved because it's like, why are you doing that, you absolute moron?
Can get
And
you-
people who don't know what they're doing going, but why did you do that? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I like the color of the button.
Yeah. I mean, I'll consider it. It's one of those things where I'm like, when would I stream? Because if I stream Monday nights, Midge is busy and Eleanor is on, and I feel bad. Tuesdays, I'm here. Wednesdays, maybe? I don't know. It's just one of those things
Well,
where I'm
if
like,
you
going,
want to do it and you want to kind of get
I
in,
stream Wednesdays.
then
yeah, and so does Rival.
yeah, you could do a kind of a co-op stream to begin with, so you get your feet underneath you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Football Manager is that it's really easy to stream because it's just a screen and my face, and that's it.
It's
There's
just
no.
spreadsheet, isn't it? Like
It's just
I'm assuming
spreadsheet
that's
simulator.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just spreadsheet simulator.
A
Yeah.
whole bunch of spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Don't
The
say
gameplay
things like
is.
that. Look at her. She's already starting to perk.
It's great though because you can just like the only gameplay in it is that you watching a football match, so you become a commentator too.
Yeah, and it's
So
only
it's a
the
great way to learn.
highlights as well, so it's much easier
Yeah.
to watch than
I actually
four
like football, though.
very overpaid people just doing this for half
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah. Basically, it's
I
like
know-
you can
I
make
know,
the
I'm
game
sorry,
as short
I'm-
as you want.
Midge, I'm sorry. That is not the proper way to do it. It's very overpaid people going, oh, the wind.
Yeah.
Share your real opinions.
No. I will get
I
fired
was
from
made
this
of
stream.
brass.
Yeah. Midge will actually have to fire me if I share my real opinions on the stream. I don't know how he'd do it. He doesn't pay me, but he'd have to do it.
I have no context for like sports stuff. Like it doesn't I can't get it. It just doesn't.
That's
Well,
fair.
You see, the difference between rugby
Hey.
and
Oh,
football
hello.
is
Thank God.
you got rugby is a game where you have your arm ripped off and you get up, spilling blood everywhere,
Literally
and
just
you
got
keep
out of the
going.
bath and rushed on.
It's alright, buddy. We were killing time until. Right, I guess without further ado, for the final time tonight, for the final time this series, we can bring you in to Tricogha.
Tricogha. The city of dreams, they say. They might have even been right once upon a time. But now, it's a rotting, corrupt corpse on a hill. When the nation went dry, a few saw the potential, saw the money that was waiting for them. Now, you can't go a block without passing a speakeasy, even if you can't see it. And you'd be surprised just how many upstanding citizens you'll find at a table with a glass in their hands. These can't help but want money or power. Problem is when both of those mix away from the light of the law. Corruption, exploitation, and murder. It's all just another night in Tricogha.
And we are back. So, Roach,
So,
over to you, buddy.
over to me. So last week, I think we all remember, we had that climactic end of this whole narrative with a speed run stealth section at the beginning part of the game. Just quickly got it out of the way. And then a protracted Saw-like section with Jack Andrews in in an abandoned firehouse trying to get out without being killed. And after a lot of harrowing close calls, randomly grasping about in a totally dark shower room, Jack was able to get the upper hand on his former employee, Freddy. But right before Patrick Muldoon took his shot, the forgotten detective, lead detective, was able to come to the rescue and shoot Patrick dead and save the mayor.
Mayor?
With all, or not the mayor. Maybe.
Alderman.
Alderman. The thing is, we spent like 2 or 3 months with the idea being Jack was going to be a mayor. and it's hard to kind of like make pivot. Saving the Alderman.
That's very true.
Yeah. Afterwards, discussions were had, evidence was shared, newspapers were informed, pictures were given out, recordings were copied, and a criminal case that lasted for a better part of half a year ended with the mayor and the various criminal elements he was working with being found guilty and taken into custody. And we kind of left it off there. And what we're going to be doing is going through every character, and we're just going to see what happens afterwards. What is their end? What happens after this story? So I think we're going to take it to the Alderman.
Well, before we jump to the end of the case, there's something I definitely wanted to do, which is,
right.
And this is how I envisioned it, and it's probably the day of the information like breaking, and after the slightly hairy incident the night before.
Harry.
A propped up by a I imagine, because this is the Midwest, it's raining. I am Jack is at the door of the mayor, small wooden box in hand, and a copy of the newspaper, bright and early. And physically, I'm blocking the door towards to mask the fact that behind me is a lobby line of press photographers. I want to ring the doorbell of the mayor and just hand him the box and says, "About time I return this to you." I assume once he's at the door.
Yeah, well, just wait a second. Okay. Yeah, the behind you, covered by umbrellas, for a little ways, there is quite a pack of reporters. That they're in one hand, some of them in one hand they've got their umbrella, the other hand they've got like a notebook or something, or so half of them have a kind of like ineffectually tucked like against their like crook of their elbow and against themselves, and so they've got a pencil that they're writing things down on, notebook. They're waiting for the mayor to come out when you arrive and
push through.
Walk up.
Yeah, I want them to basically. I want to be the first thing the mayor sees, and then when I move aside, it will just I'll let them have it. And when you ring the doorbell, takes a minute. The door opens and you see the imposing. Well, actually, give me just a Nope.
For
mind observation. Were you meant to say
for Andrews? No, I was actually going to say give me a body presence check.
Can I go with will presence?
No.
Okay. One success.
Put an extra D8 in there.
One success.
It is Midge rolling after all.
Hang on.
Ambitious?
Yeah, I'll roll my D12 for ambitious on this. 2 successes.
Okay, you didn't need to do that.
Well,
you only got 1 success, but yeah, no, the imposing figure of the mayor that you used to like, even if you weren't afraid or like it wasn't that, but he was this kind of big.
Big
He
guy.
was a wall. He was a guy. He was an obstacle. But as you see him now, after going through all of this and going through last night, where you got out, mostly through 90%, 90% because of your own will.
That's a big credit towards me. I thought it would be far less.
It's 90%. You're ambitious. You're an ambitious politician. So yeah. That percentage will get larger and larger the more you tell the story as time goes on. But now that you look on the mayor, he's not an obstacle. He's behind you.
Mm-hmm.
You've beaten him. At least you think you have. You've done your best. And he doesn't hold the same presence to you anymore. He looks tired when you open it, like he didn't sleep last night. He's still a big frame, doesn't look like weak or anything like that, but he just looks tired around the eyes as you hand him the box.
And the newspaper. Morning, Mayor. I hope you had an okay sleep. Mine was fine in the end. I wanted you to have this back. It was really useful to get things started, but you've got some documents that you need to sign coming up. I thought you might like this, and anyway, they're all waiting for you, and remember, always back the jack. And I'm gonna stand aside, let the cameras have it as he opens the box to see the pen that we stole and a back the jack pin. With in the case as well, and then he looks to the. Oh, sorry. The La Pan still. That's fair. That's a fair catch on that.
He played the role in being a distraction.
I was a big distraction.
Roach, I watched that episode again recently. No.
No, that was at the same time I was giving the documents to the harbor master.
Yeah, that's true.
And no, and then I'm gonna go. And then I'm going to shout out to the press reporters, well, boys, he's awake. Let him have it. And then I'm going to go straight over across the other path in this garden towards where I see Roman by the car and just start my umbrella back up, walking
it's
back
Larence.
over.
Roman's still fucked up.
No, Roman would be there. Roman would be there.
It's both of them.
Keeping Roman away from there.
It's both of them. Let's be fair. It's both of them.
Roman's in the passenger seat with his arm like like a Moogle, just looking at me.
No. I imagine that they both stood outside the car, but it's one of those things of Roman is slightly leaned on Larence.
Or on the car.
Ever so, oh yeah, on the car. He's kind of trying to play it cool, but his shoulder hurts like hell. But yeah, and then that'll be what I do before all the legal stuff completes. That's just the first thing Jack does.
Larence hands you a cigar when you come over to the door, which he's been saving this entire time.
Thanks.
Hey, it's a good day's work.
So, boys, what do you want to do today?
Well, for Roman's sake, let's head home.
Quiet night in. I approve. Okay, and then we'll
You
zoom
don't
forward.
have a choice.
We'll zoom forward to whatever the so we're past the court case. So he's gone. He's in prison.
Yeah, the the deputy mayor is filling out the end of his term until the election can occur.
So
I'm assuming the deputy mayor was found to have no connection to anything that was going on.
Deputy mayor was kind of just a
Patsy.
was just not a political force. He was just this he's this little owl that was more with the books than or like dealing with the administration than the mayor. So he took
The mayor
over.
was the political force. The vice mayor was the deputy mayor. Sorry, was the books man behind all of it.
then what's left for Jack is to keep trying to elevate his political career. He's going to be well, there's now a slot open for mayor, but his eyes aren't just set on mayor. There's state senator, governor, eventually president. You know, he's gonna try and climb that rung ladder.
You're gonna make me join the Secret Service, you bastard.
You are the Secret Service.
I'm gonna make you in charge of the Secret Service.
I am not being in a freaking Treasury Secretary and sat me on a desk.
Yeah, they are.
Red looks moderately insulted by that.
Okay, what about your own special service?
I am my own special service. You're not giving me anything I haven't already got.
Well, a badge and a bigger gun, maybe.
Ever had complaints before?
Just a D20 roll, Midge.
17.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, after the case ends, your job doesn't really end. Your name's associated with this quite heavily. You're a public figure. That was a part of it, a very public figure. There was others in your group that helped bring down the mayor and the Turners, whose names were associated with it, but they weren't large names. They weren't really like famous. So you are able to kind of weigh that with the upcoming elections for mayor. There's a kind of it's only like a year and a half before that happens, and you do well, and you do reach the mayoral office, and I don't know how far you want to go in terms of figuring out, but you do reach that level, and you're fairly popular among a lot of the people in the city, because you're now known for helping kind of bring down a violent gang and dealing with corruption. So you had everything wrote for you for your
eventual like autobiography is going to be very well written.
Yeah, well, it's also, I want to put myself in a position as well. I really want to side as well with the detective that saved my life. I want to try and get him in a better position if he wants it.
You know,
make sure he is like at least given a medal for his valor in service of the city. Absolutely, like that's.
Well, yeah. Not long after you attain the office of mayor, you're in front of a large group in a city hall, That's a whole bunch of reporters off to the side, a couple of the major like names in the city sitting on tables in the front, but most people are in uniform, and they're wearing the dress uniform of the Tricogha PD, and white gloves, kind of a dark blue navy jackets and everything, and the caps. And first time you've seen him out of a coat, out of his trench coat. On a podium, like next to you, with you behind a podium, is the detective wearing his dress blues, and accepting a not only recognition from the city, but also taking over as police chief.
Solid choice. Very solid choice.
I was gonna say what happens to the chief of police, because he was dodgy as fuck as well.
He wasn't accused of anything, but he was given
Forced into an early retirement.
He was given a pension and told to get the fuck out, and he got the fuck out. So now there was and with the detective being a trusted individual by the mayor and being the lead, technically being the lead of the organized crime division, means he was kind of on track for that anyways. He was just delayed because of the fact that he wouldn't play ball. Mm-hmm. So he got that. And the fact is kind of what also happens is obviously we know that in a few years after everything kind of goes through, Prohibition ends as well, which does help the city kind of get through the tail end of your mayor term, your mayoral term, because it's I believe mayors go for 4 years, I believe. So it was 6 months, everything. So you got in at around 1928, maybe late 1928. Yeah. So by the time you would be getting out of office for your first term, if you were not seeking a second term, Prohibition would have ended, and a lot of those gangs have already been dealt with by the chief of police, and city's starting to really look on the upturn for whatever's next in, well, the mayor's now in Jack Andrews.
We can use that now.
Future. We can use that.
Just on a sub message on the whole Mayordom of Chicago thing. I've just looked up who the current mayor of Chicago is, and her name is legitimately the name of a D&D halfling. The mayor of Chicago is a lady named Lori Lightfoot.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yep. I believe she is quite tall.
Oh, that's upsetting, but at the same time, I really dig that. She is essentially cool. But
yeah, no, she's pretty good. As mayors go. But yeah, and that, whatever is in the future for the mayor, for Jack Andrews, we'll leave that to the imagination.
Lori Lightfoot is 5'1".
5'1". I was wrong, so actually that is better. Better. Let's go to Roman.
Yes.
What happens with Jack Roman after everything kind of ends with this chapter? What does he do afterwards?
Well, he has his shoulder fixed and everything first.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming by the end of the case, that's already kind of mostly healed. You're maybe it's not 100% ever again, but because it was a pretty bad wound. It was a very bad wound. So maybe not 100 again, which maybe want to weigh that.
No. Roman has for a while kind of toyed with the idea of going back to his original profession. I mean, he wouldn't be where he is now if it wasn't for a damn ostrich getting taken out by an idiot instead of being taken out by the accidental chandelier dropping on his head. Starting a big Barney in Europe. So he toyed with that idea, but he basically can't leave the alderman or the mayor on his own because, let's face it, he can't look after himself.
That's true.
So, and the mayor / alderman has promised him basically his own security detail.
And a bigger gun.
And a bigger gun and a car of his own.
Every time I get a promotion, Roman gets a new gun. That's what it is.
He goes from the 38 special to a 40 to like a 44. Then he's got a 50.
No, it gets to 1937 and it's just like, hey, R&D wants us to test out this thing called a chaffee. Roman, you're interested?
Okay.
Okay.
So basically, as far as Roman's concerned, the mayor couldn't keep himself alive. He had to get someone had to save him right at the end because, let's face it, he was going to get himself killed. So he's going to stick with the mayor and basically integrate himself into whatever security detail the mayor has.
Yeah, there's normally the police department is the ones that provide security for the mayor if he's not if he doesn't have a personal security deal that he himself has. So
Yeah, that's funny. I was about to say I'd like to see them try.
So, you know, throughout the next couple of years while you're with the mayor, you do take lead personal security. And, you know, you end up with a few people underneath you that look to you as a boss and maybe some as a mentor as you...
Some of the scary guy that's the guy in charge. You know, it's like...
You've got stories, you've got things you've done. You were part of the whole thing with the previous mayor, so I mean that's a story that never gets tired of. But you know, for the most part, yeah, Roman kind of settles into Tricogha and, you know, helps the mayor and basically maintains his current position essentially just throughout the years. Still have a place at that table, at that restaurant, that little diner at the corner. Always make time for that, at least most weeks, at least once a day, or once a week. But yeah, there's you are approached a few times by the new chief of police to fill a position that has been left vacant. A position as a detective in the organized crime division. Your ties with your ties with with being somewhat a part of that world make you somewhat valuable. You wouldn't be a director or the lead detective or anything like that, but you could get in on the ground floor and
I've seen this film.
you'd have a good shot. Yeah. You'd have a good shot. You're approached a few times. What Roman denies and says no every time. And you stick with the mayor for the foreseeable future. La Pan.
Well, this is two things, I suppose, at the same time.
Could be.
Well, yeah, do we want to do Harry first? Because I feel like Lena and Larence are going to be a lot of interchange.
Yeah.
All right. Harry.
I suppose the question is there a place for Harry to have continued employment with our good politician friend or not? Is Jack going to have a job for him? A decent job?
Roman, will we have a job for a tea leaf?
No, but we'd have a job for a security consultant. Your job
All
would
right,
be to break into places that have been deemed secure.
You basically, what you're talking about is a very sophisticated thief. Harry is not a sophisticated thief.
No, but you could basically have fun testing your skills against pretty much anyone. Someone has some keys we need to get hold of. I.e., they have access to a particular security facility.
I'll tell you what. Harry would be willing to freelance on that. But I don't see it in his character to go straight. Not necessarily because he likes the life of crime, more because that's what he knows. He's never been in a comfortable situation. One thing he will ask, though, and this is an element that we weren't able to explore, is that he's going to ask if we can get some connections in some way, if we can investigate, because he's got no ability to do so, about a certain individual. He wants to know if a certain Lance Corporal Chester survived the war, and in addition, did they make it? If they survived the war, are they still around back in old play?
Right. Give me a d20 roll.
Eight.
Okay. So post everything kind of happening in Tricogha, you stick around for a little while because you still have a position on kind of the Alderman's staff for a bit. It's a cot, it's a room, hot meals. But eventually, a couple of after the Alderman becomes the mayor, you decide it's all right. You can move on. You have connections here. You always have a place if you need a place to lay low with at least Roman. So you do move on. You go to other cities in the United States. Kind of seeing the country. The thing is that you made off with a large amount of money in that haul.
You did.
Oh, yeah.
From the mayor's office that nobody really asked you about because it wasn't reported stolen and there wasn't a record. So you kind of just didn't say anything and you've been able to keep it. Which means that Harry lives a fairly comfortable life, just traveling. Doing what he does, seeing the world. And by the world, the United States, and maybe Canada. Just kind of going from place to place. But you do set aside some money to hire a private investigator to go and check out a couple of things. You give a name, you give a unit, and some information that might be useful, and you wait to hear from them. I mean, it takes a while, actually. Maybe it's a couple of months, better part of a year, before you get anything back. When eventually there's this investigator calls back and relays what they found. What they found is that Chester survived the war. He was still in the military for quite a while afterwards. He decided to make a go at a career of it, and but he took time off and decided to go and see the world, as it were. That he didn't get a chance to when he was actually in the army, because he was in Europe almost the whole time. But that's where the trail goes cold, is when he got to Cairo and boarded a plane that was going east, and past that point there's no records of him. This detective kind of tracked him through multiple legs of the journey, and that's kind of where it went cold. What Harry does with that is up to you, but that's what you get from there.
Okay, well, still hope.
Yeah, maybe
Harry would.
Sergeant Chester at some point.
Oh, Sergeant. Oh, even better. Harry would, before he just ups and leaves, he would actually sort of sit down with Jack. And, no, in fact, not even Jack. He would sit down with Roman.
Still Jack, that still applies.
Still Jack, but the other Jack. Other Jack.
I need the monkey Jack.
He needs to sit down. And it'll be... Right, listen, I appreciate the offer of the stable work that you got, but I'm going to confess something here. And that is that, firstly, it's not really for me. I kind of want to get out there and see the rest of the country. I've been stuck in this city for God knows how long, you know. And now I've got a bit of bread in my pocket. I can finally get to see America. Especially now I'm not in life debt to anyone. And the other thing is, now that he's made mayor, I'm not the kind of guy that you want to have hanging around him.
Okay, which you got a place, you know that, right?
Of course, but you know, I appreciate that, and I'll leave contact details. I'll send postcards so you sort of know where I'm about. So if you ever got some work that you needing done or whatever, I'll make sure you can get in touch. But the less exposed to scandal he is, the better it is for everyone. Like, I like you guys, but I've only known you a short while. You've only known me a short while, and it's a tough old world for people like me. And it just spirals to all of yous as well.
All right, boy.
That's obviously how he would go about departing. He wouldn't speak directly to Jack. He'd just let Roman deal with it and quietly leave at that point.
Say, you leave. You shake each other's hands. Give a firm handshake before you leave, and the rest. For the next say couple of years, it's basically that. You do spend a lot of time just kind of traveling. Is there any place that Harry would eventually settle down? Is there a place he likes? Because with that amount of money, you can go anywhere in the country.
Where was the place? Is it Chicago? Was the big place that was quite?
We're in Chicago.
We're in Chicago. Which it's not California yet that became the big queer-friendly city.
Oh,
Is it in this timeline?
Is it New Orleans?
I think New Orleans had.
He would definitely eventually wind up there.
Where's?
I think it's New Orleans.
Like it was. I think
For this time period, time
yeah.
period, I'm thinking that New Orleans is probably the one because it's not yet San Francisco. That's the big.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch to say friendly, but I mean it's not as.
Obviously not. It's still highly illegal in this time period.
But
Just,
still, not to go
he
into
wasn't
that.
just going to like up and confess that he's
No.
But not to go into that. But yeah, eventually you do settle down in there's a name for it in the system, but I've forgotten. There's an actual name for it in the book. But whatever. I say whatever, but I'm looking it up now.
It's it's something, isn't it?
It's French.
Yeah.
I
I don't think it's even fully French. I think it's faux French as well.
Yeah.
Is it Le Baguette?
Oh no,
Maybe.
it's Lagarde.
Lagodi, maybe. Well, it could just be New Orleans because you don't need to use the names in the books, I don't think.
That's true.
Tricogha's.
But yeah, Tricogha. But yeah, so you settle down there after say a few years traveling around, going from place to place, and find a nice spot, and say if you still want to have a little bit of under the table work, you can, and you're good enough at that point that you shouldn't have too much trouble, though.
I mean, I broke into a mayor's freaking office and took all his money and everything.
And you got yourself a nice front business working in a pawn shop. Eventually, because of your good business acumen, you end up owning it. And you're just this very aggressively British.
Aggressively British
fox.
He's a barrow boy. He's a barrow boy. Like that's how
he's a barrow boy.
He's a barrow boy. The boys that push the barrows around selling goods. That's how they got their name, barrow boys.
Yeah, and you're just this aggressively British fox that owns a pawn shop in downtown Belgrade or New Orleans and do pretty well.
Lagodi, isn't it? Yeah, or something.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, next I guess it's La Pan and Larence. Since we wanted to do it together.
Lennox, or LNL, as you call it.
You're breaking up, Mikey.
A little bit.
Yay.
I think you're fine now.
Yeah. Am I? I think maybe. Cool.
Oh.
All right. Nice.
Right. So, once the Alderman is back, and Larence from their thing, Lena's going to go to their room, dragging Larence by the paw. Two things, Monsieur Alderman. Well, three things actually. Number one, did he like his pen back?
I think you'll see his reaction in tomorrow's paper.
Parfait. Number two, I'm going to ask.
Is 19. 01.
You shouldn't use your birth year. It's very easy to guess. But merci. There is
I
one
would
more
have guessed
thing.
that.
It's actually not his birth year. But
And number three, Larence and myself wish to take a trip to Europe. Obviously, we have to get the case over first. I don't think Monsieur Gale would let us leave, but we'll be gone for a while, so I wanted to prepare you and obviously Monsieur Roman.
Well, I mean, I'll be sad to see you
We'll
guys.
be back. We'll be back.
I'm sure you'll have a absolutely wonderful time. Bring me back one of those little Eiffel Towers.
They are so tacky. Very well.
So am I.
Suits
So
him.
am I.
Lawrence just turns to Lena and just says in French, "It suits him."
You're not wrong. And there was a last thing. Oh yes. Do you now need a campaign manager?
I mean, how's your sign painting?
Actually, not bad. My
Why am I
typing's
not
getting
surprised?
better.
Well, you're hired.
Lawrence just kind of shrugs. I mean, hey, the higher up the rug you get, the more people are going to be aiming for you.
So, Lena's going to retrieve her box, tuck the letter into somewhere, because Larence doesn't need to see that, and then go to the plan room with Larence.
Before Larence leaves the office, whilst La Pan is away from it. The Alderman is gonna slip Larence an address for a hotel in Paris, and said, "There's a room booked up for this date for 2 weeks for a set of dates."
Thanks, Andrews.
Think of it as a work bonus for not just keeping me alive, but also he's never gonna thank you for it.
I don't expect him to.
And then I let him go.
I gave Andrews a pat on the shoulder. One of these days, kid. One of these days, you'll meet your ambitions.
Or die trying.
Don't do that second one.
I know you'll be out of a job.
I'm probably already dead at that point. And I quite like the life I've found myself in now. It's a real improvement. And now I'm dragged off to the plan room by La Pan.
La Plan. Right. So, when you said you wanted to move in together, you weren't joking, were you?
No, I was being very serious.
Good. I like it. I have something to help. And finally, everyone can see it. I'm gonna post it.
Oh, no way.
Is this the thing from the safe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, do you remember
You
on our...
stole a Fabergé diamond Romanov necklace.
Emerald and diamond, yeah.
It's the reason the Pan had to come to the US for
Leave
a while.
Russia. Yeah.
You remember
Wow.
I said on our first date that I left Russia in a hurry?
I love you.
I love you too. You didn't answer my question.
Yes, I remember, and I also now realize why you had to leave Russia really quickly.
So this has been my retirement fund for some time, clearly. I can ask Mr. Green to turn it into capital. I can't buy a house because I'm a woman, but you can.
Well,
1920s.
I already have that apartment set up, and we have lots of time since we're going to be stuck in this city for another few months to get some money together for the trip, and also save some money because obviously the two of us are working. We're both making some money, so I'd prefer to see you wear it first.
I mean, out? Because
Maybe just the necklace.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Fantastic. Listen, you don't need to sell off your retirement fund this early on.
I wanted to let you know, Andrew, I gave it to Andrews for safekeeping in case anything, he needed it for rescuing. And to be fair, he was the one who needed rescuing, but we'd like to know that.
I still owe Gil a drink when that becomes illegal again.
Well, look, give it a few months, we'll be on a boat, they'll be drinking there. We'll be in France, there'll be even more drinking there.
Oh God, yeah.
So, did you want to go to Ireland too?
Yes, I have a few things that I've been thinking of that I need to get sorted away.
Problem. I'd like to see him.
It's not much to see, but if you'll come.
Still. It's where you grew up. It's important.
So,
Okay.
so do you want to detail those trips, or do we want to leave that more up to the imagination of you spending what's probably going to be, it's the 1920s, so what's probably a standard like upper middle class / upper class vacation, which is like 3 years just not being home, just going to Europe. And
We can pick out the
We're
major
vacation.
points. Yeah, we pick out the major points.
well,
Pick
that
out the
works.
major points, yeah.
Um,
So, the main one for Lena is taking Larence to meet her parents and her brothers and sisters, and however many nieces and nephews they have now, because rabbits.
it's a few.
Larence is being swarmed by small rabbits. Help.
There's a few. Your family is I mean, there past a certain point.
Traditional
You can't
Catholic rabbit.
It's it is France. But yeah, no, you have like, there's a bit of land, a parcel of land that your family kind of manages, and is have a home there, and you've got your brothers and your sisters that have all gone to their own farms through some means, either marrying into another farmer's family, or and then taking over that, or some way kind of spread out. And yeah, it's a very big like homecoming. They haven't seen you in a long time, and it's very surprising when you bring Larence.
Hello, sir.
in. Yeah. Also, you're doing very well, so I'm assuming like you're dressed pretty nicely. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too fancy because we're in the middle of the countryside, and
Yeah, Larence is blending.
yeah. True. True. That makes sense.
Anto,
But yes.
that's cruel.
Got to a farm up north. How dare you, Anto?
But yeah, no, it goes off well. Your family, you spend probably a few weeks just visiting with the family, kind of on the homestead, farmstead, and just kind of catching up, talking. Lots of stories being told and traded. You catching up on family and like where some of your brothers have gone off to. What are they doing? A couple of them aren't nearby. One of them is trying to be an entrepreneur somewhere down south. Nobody's heard how that's going for a couple of weeks or for a couple of months, so it's kind of, they're just waiting for him to come back. Stuff like that. Basic family drama, nothing too major there.
Cool. So Larence is obviously there the entire time with her. And the major point for his trip to Ireland is Larence brings Lena to his family home. It is a small thatched roof house that at one point might have been quite nice, but is a little dilapidated at this point. He hasn't been home in, 4 or 5, maybe 6 years. So it's hard for him, but he does eventually go into the house and get into the attic, wherein he pulls a very dusted, sealed box from the attic, opens it, and pulls out the deeds to the land. Sherry, I have no use for this land. It haunts me. Maybe your family could make better use of it. There's enough land here for your entire family. It's fertile. Good woodlands.
The land, not the family.
Both. You would either sit here and haunt me, or it could be somebody else's big new start, especially with your father. Maybe a change of scenery would help. I know it did me. You don't have to answer now. You can think. We got time still.
Thank you.
And yeah,
I want to show you one last thing. And there's a hill nearby. She walks up, and at the top of those hill there are 5 graves. His family's graves. Mom, Dad. This is my girlfriend, Lena. He speaks to the graves. And he has a very poignant conversation with them. And he asks them if they are okay with his plans for their land. And he just stands there for a while, just soaking it in, the smells, the sights of his home.
Yeah. Does Lena do anything?
Just before they go down, she'll plant a kiss on top of each of the gravestones. And with the tiny little bit of Irish that Larence has taught her on the boat on the way over, she'll say thank you.
Guramagat.
You're going to have to say that more. Catch on.
Slowly.
So yeah. With that, you leave the property with deeds to land and decisions to make for the future about what to do with it, and a very open-ended future for both Larence and Lena. And just to talk on a couple of NPCs and what happens with them. So our we already know what happens with the Detective Gill, but Jack Andrews' old friend and bad mobster Good Taylor
Good old Mayhew
leaves the mob business eventually, having facilitated the whole thing between you and Miss Wheelwright and dealing with the Turners. He's finally bought kind of his way out of the whole mess, and runs a fairly successful, now that he can actually dedicate full time to it, suit and kind of like a shop, and just really like garment shop, just starts, being
Larence exclusively buys his suits from Mayhew.
Yeah, I would say probably 1 in every 3 or more suits that the mayor, Jack Andrews' wares, is from Mayhew Taylors and Associates shop, and probably makes that a full-throated endorsement every time it comes up. And he does very well for himself. A certain pigeon that that we got to know and entered our hearts and never left. Archie the Magnificent. Does run a couple of fairly decent shows at the community theaters around Tricogha for a while, and is able to make a slight name for himself when a few years later there starts to be a little bit of a business for cheap but decent magicians somewhere in Nevada around a place called Las Vegas. Okay. Yeah, Archie. The mayor goes to jail for quite a long time, and it does not have any, loses all of his appeals during the time that we covered in this epilogue. And do you think that's every one of the major NPCs that had big roles that aren't dead?
What happened to the wheelwrights?
The wheelwrights. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
What happened to the gangs?
The gang.
The gang that we literally, help.
Well, the gang. The thing is they never really contact you after that. You become a very
agent,
public.
I suppose.
You become a very public entity after that point. You spend months. We did cover this last session. You spend months kind of not be in contact, though Mayhew does reach out and say that you did a good job and that he doesn't know if they're ever gonna need anything more, but nothing calls up. They don't call in any favors or anything like that. You hold a lot. You've seen Miss Mayhew and know of her role in the not Mayhew, Wheelwright in the gang. So it's quite a so you kind of hold some cards of your own, and they don't really cash in anything else they have because they don't really have anything left for you. You do at a certain point have to deal with the fact that you have to pay for the full property tax on your house, and everything is not being covered anymore. But as a mayor, you do get a certain amount of money from that, and you may be a good mayor, but that doesn't mean you're not a politician. So you make enough money.
Yeah,
you don't have to deal with anything. And when it comes to just the city itself, it kind of continues forward. This was a major shakeup in kind of the late Prohibition era for the city that just sparked off because of a big power grab with violence. Up until that point, it was fairly calm. There was territories that had been defined, and there was agreements, there was understandings with people across those borders. And once the Turners kind of get taken out, there's a big vacuum. But from what you know by Detective Gill, or I guess Police Chief Gill, at a certain point, is that the gangs kind of the gangs that were left kind of filled in the extra space. The wheelwrights are obviously, they got very powerful and are kind of the head of the organized crime in the city, with the other remaining gangs kind of becoming like subdivisions. Like they deal with their own things. They pay a tax essentially to the wheelwrights so that they can kind of continue to operate and get the lion's share of the money, or lion's share of their operations, and things kind of just remain that way. By the time, we don't really cover the post-Prohibition era in this epilogue, but I mean, around that time, obviously there'll be things happening because an entire revenue stream will go away, and maybe at some point in the future we might cover that. Who knows? Maybe in a future one shot or something, or maybe in a couple of years a second campaign set in the 1940s or 50s in Tricogha. But yeah, I don't
Won't be
think
in
there's
Chicago, it'll be in Washington.
any... Well, who knows? It might not be with the same characters, because you'd all be fairly old by 1950.
Lawrence would be in his 50s.
Yeah, yeah. You'd all be up there. But that does lead into the fact that you'd be alive for the Second World War, as well. That's
I'd be in
the
my
whole thing.
I'd be in my 40s in the Second World War. So.
Yeah. Maybe
I
that's
don't
how
know
you,
if would
maybe
Lawrence
that's
be
something
drafted.
you kind of weigh.
I
At
think so.
40, probably not. Not for the Allies.
That's true.
Though, definitely we could say Andrews was for his presidential prospects or his governmental prospects does kind of enlist in the Navy, as that was very common for political families at the time to have someone in the Navy and serve there. But yeah, I think with that we kind of come to the end of the epilogues for the characters, because I don't want to go into like their whole lives, so I want to leave it open-ended for everybody. You know, you kind of have things you could go into, things you couldn't, but I think everybody had a happy ending, or at least they had a good ending.
Well then,
Say that.
before we close out tonight, how about a message from our own RivalZoneGaming about something that's coming up next?
Yeah, do you think of how you're going to do that, or not?
Well, I've got something to bring on screen at the very least.
All right, do you want to do that one first?
Well, it's over to you. There you are.
Okay. That's the way it's going to be, is it? Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay, so because Roach is our main DM and he does a fantastic job creating fanciful worlds with deep lore and maps and everything else that goes into making a D&D campaign, and I would like to dip my toe into the D&D campaign kind of GMing role with zero experience, and because I've been badgering Roach for months now. He wants to take a short break in between Tricogha Nights and our next big campaign, because he's doing maps and things and probably just needs a couple of weeks off to regen the old brain. He's allowed me to put together a short two-shot, so 2 nights and 2 weeks in a row. We'll do a quick D&D campaign set in the Elite Dangerous universe, where we will have a group of, I don't want to say adventurers because some
Ne'er-do-wells.
We have a trader, a smuggler, a spy, and 2 mercenaries. We've all been invited to a certain place that if you're into your Elite Dangerous, you'll know how hard it is to get there. Hutton Orbital. And they have been asked to come there by an unknown person called Madame Chevalier to partake in a particular job, the details of which they will have to wait until they get to Hutton Orbital. But just for going there, they're going to get 100,000 credits. Just for showing up. And that's all you're getting.
Well, then end the music really abruptly there. But thank you, Ravi, for that little sneak peek. So look forward to more information on that in the coming weeks. There's just one kind of final thing before this. As we're at the end of Tricogha, you will have until Roach's next campaign to pick up anything you want that is Tricogha related in our merch store. After that, it'll be gone for good. So if you're looking to get something Tricogha, You've got
Limited
until
run.
then.
It's only been available for a week so far. So
No,
Is there bunny ears?
it's been available for a month and a half now, I think.
oh, has it?
It's been a while, yeah.
Was it publicly announced? Did we start? I thought it was 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks
Oh,
ago.
it's probably 3 weeks ago. It's probably about a month by the time they get it. But it's all
Are
limited
there
run.
bunny ears and Tommy guns? That's all I
Get
want to know.
bunny ears. Bunny ears and Tommy guns could be a cool T-shirt though. So maybe, but maybe. So
an LNL shirt for the ship. That'd be kind of cool.
but oh God, I'm gonna switch back to the rival main screen just so you can get a full image of. Yep, there he is.
Because you can't actually see the bunny ears.
Just, it cuts it on the main on his other camera. So
Also, that's the first time you've seen any of us in color on Tuesday.
yeah, that's very.
It's true. Yeah.
But that's it for us from Tricogha Nights, and what a campaign! So for one final time for this show, I need to thank Commissar Roach for writing and
Thank you,
GMing this
Roach.
campaign.
Thanks,
yeah,
Roach.
big round of applause for Roach for everybody. We had a lot of fun, and even if we did whack job the system, it was the perfect
It was fun.
game.
It was still
the
fun.
perfect game.
I haven't opened the book in weeks.
Yeah, we still shovel it at the beginning of every episode.
It's worth it.
No,
Buy
it is worth it. It's a good.
Buy the book.
It's a very good book. But we also have the wonderful Surelyonlymikey and UtariOnzo. You can catch them at their Twitches of those various names. And we have the dynamic duo of Red Moogle and RivalZoneGaming at RivalZoneGaming, both on Twitch and YouTube. I'm Midgeman. This has been the Component Cast. We'll see you soon for a Tuesday crew game, like never before.
Bye.
Bye.
It's not going to be that good.